Or when there's an example like James of a guy who's put in the work and it shows you put in the work, you can get that opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, what coach doesn't preach chemistry and family and all that stuff like that, right? But then you see how the plans come into play and come into light. Again, that's the perfect story. Not one person knew about James. Now we did. We knew his talent. And it just, again, it goes to show you, Coach Rule's down there working with the scout team and the demonstration team, and here James is balling his butt off, right? So he comes to me and T Knight's like, hey man, we got to get this guy on the field. T Knight goes and Coop suggested a package. T Knight's like, yeah, we can put him in this position to just let him turn him loose. We get together, we come up with the package and the coverage and stuff like that, and then we let him go play. And sure enough, it happens. So now all those other guys in that room, in that demonstration team, they're going like crazy because they know that could happen to them next. And again, it all goes back to the chemistry of the guys, and validating the work that they're putting in. It's one thing to say work hard because you will. It's another thing to be like, hey, work hard because that just happened right now. So.
How impactful has Ty Robinson been this year for you guys, even if he's not the guy making the play at the end?
Yeah, I mean, those D linemen, like I said, we got some of the best ones in the country. I've felt like that, and the neat thing is that they're putting it on the grass. The disruption that him and Nash are doing in there, all of them really. I mean, now you got Jamari down in there moving in and stuff. The disruption that they're causing, it's easy to see them make a sack and it's easy to see them make a tackle for a loss. But what you don't see are those plays where they're taking up two guys and now the linebacker or the safety runs through a hole and hits it for a tackle for a loss. It's because those guys are doing extra, So you can't play as good of run defense as we're playing without it starting up front with those guys and doing the work that nobody sees until you watch the film.
You played Purdue last year. How much has their personnel changed? Just the coaching changed. Obviously, the schemes have changed, but have they changed a lot of personnel from what?
Yeah, I mean, there's some guys back and there's some new guys. I mean, the quarterback's new. Running backs are the same. I know they moved. I think it was number 3 last year. He was kind of like a slot wide receiver guy. Put him in the backfield. Now he's strictly a running back. So. They have good personnel. I mean, the number 4, the wide receiver is dynamic. They got 2 tailbacks that I think are going to be some of the best we played. Quarterback, obviously, he's a tremendous athlete, and you see when he gets a chance to get in a rhythm and throw the ball distributed, he's really talented. So we got to make sure that we know what we're doing and we know how we want to do it, and then turn those guys loose to let them go play.
When people hear the phrase air raid, a lot of times I think of Mike Leach, like Mike Leach, and the way that maybe he threw the ball. Is that true of this team, or has the air raid evolved over the last 5, 6, 7 years into something more expansive?
I think it's just per offensive coordinator per guy. You know what I mean? It's just the same thing like with the Rocky Long Tree. You see all the guys you took it places, and you see the different variations that their spins on it. I think it's the same way. You can see some of the same concepts from that air raid offense, but then you see the differences. You see the run game. I think he was the OC back in the day when we were at Arizona State, and I remember being true like air raid. You know what I mean? And now you see a little bit more emphasis on the run game, and they're doing a nice job with their stretch game, their counter game. Sniping the tight ends back across and stuff. So I think he's putting his spin on it, as he goes and gets more comfortable with it. So it's making it hard to defend, yeah.
Guys like James Williams, earlier you've had some position changes in season. How much intentionality does that take as a coach, as a staff, to continue to evaluate your guys in season while you're preparing for games and everything?
That's top down, right? You got the head man over there. Right now he's in there with the scout team, or the demonstration team, you know what I mean? And then for a lot of times in season, what happens is you get to, time is limited, so you watch film, but you only watch your guy. You watch the 1s and 2s versus the offense and the scout team, and you're going like this. Well, there's an emphasis on watching everything in practice, including the scout team, so that way you can see like who that next guy up is going to be and all that stuff. So then that's one where again, T Knight sees it every day in one-on-ones. Then it's validated with Coach Rule over there in the demonstration teams, and then it's us coming together and saying like, hey, look. Let's put them on the grass and let's see. and then us all coming together and saying, hey, I think this is the role he needs to be in. We need to play this coverage with it. We need to do this with the other guys, so everybody can just go. And sure enough, it was a good package, and it worked. So.
Is that comparable to anything you've been part of in your career, where the head coach has been that willing to move guys around in season?
No, not during the season like that. No, but you see it now on offense as well. You know, you always have to have that next man up mentality, because you never know what situation you're going to be in, right? So same thing with the offensive guys right now. You know, they're moving pieces around and finding the great combinations and stuff. And you know, Evan Jenkins, when he had to go into the game, you know, he was repping guard, and then for a series, and then he goes over, now he's repping center. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how many reps he had gotten at center, but he goes right in there and plays. Like that's on a different level in terms of being prepared. You know, and coach is always talking about that, where, you know, you're preparing to take the grass at any moment. You know, and there's some guys hear it and some guys listen, and you know, when those guys that listen really get a chance to show it on the grass, like they've been listening, they've been practicing like they're going to play, then that's a pretty neat deal.
Isaac Gifford, go ahead. Has Isaac Gifford always been a pretty good tackler? Coach Rule said on Saturday that his stop on third down, in his opinion, was one of the bigger plays of the game.
Yeah. That play, when you really break it down, we send an all-out blitz, and they, out of the halftime, that was going to be their adjustment, right? They saw they couldn't block it, so they're going to throw the screen off of it. Giff makes two guys miss. They got blockers all on the hash mark, from the hash mark to the boundary. That's probably going to go for 20, 30, 40 yards, if not a touchdown. And that young man made a hell of a play, probably the play of the game, you know, because he still, not only did he tackle it, he stopped it short of the third down, and they punt the ball. You know what I mean? And so we get good field position from it, like that. Stuff like that, man, that's fun to watch, when guys who are the good guys, who care, who are up here extra, who are OOU guys, who play RDV, you know, he's all in. And when they're in a position to make those plays, and they do, again, it just shows everybody, like, bro, like that's some damn big time ball now.
You mentioned Evans Jenkins. You get as good a look at some of those young O linemen going against them. What can you say? You like what you're building in the trenches. What can you say about what's going on over there, as some of those guys are going to be called to action?
No, again, like this is a personal deal. You know, I hear stuff about the offense and everything, and like we are not as good on defense if it wasn't for those guys. Like, period. You know what I mean? Like, I've been on some staffs where you know, they didn't care about preparing the defense, and we had troubles tackling, we had troubles going against heavy personnel, we had trouble stopping the run, like that. You know what I mean? Like, so the DNA of the offense and them getting each other ready to play ball. There's a reason why they're running for 200 yards a game, and we're able to play good enough run defense. You know what I mean? It's because of those guys. So we get a chance to see it and go up against them all the time. So, you know, they prepared us. They've sharpened us, and hopefully, as we keep on continuing to play well, it's because of them and how good they are in that.
Lyman was one of those guys who's been in this program 3 or 4 years, didn't play a lot of snaps. When did you see he's a veteran guy who could help?
Yeah. You can always see his talent, right? You can always see guys who are long, can fast, run, all that kind of stuff. But he's another one that the more he plays, the more you're seeing the light turn on of what he can really do. And he made a hell of a special teams play. I mean, that punt where he ran down there and pinned them back down there. I mean, that's guys really embracing the process and doing it in practice, and the emphasis of performing in practice so you can perform in the game. And that's a great example, you know. And then again, it's those hidden plays, right? I mean, we talk about him on defense doing some really good things, but I think the biggest play he made was the punt. You know, and tackling them one-on-one, and tackling them, getting them backed up, and giving us a chance to play defense down there.
Tommy Hill spent a couple weeks getting some snaps at wideout, but what do you think of the consistency he's shown since he went back to corner full time? Yeah,
I mean, maturity. You know, Tommy's always had skill. You know, now it was the maturity factor catching on. Like, hey, you know, I don't know, I don't care what happened beforehand, but he just needed some hard coaching and some belief in him. You know what I mean? And that goes back to everybody around Coach Rule laying out the picture, Coach Coop really taking him under his wing and showing him like, dude, I know you think you're good, but this is how good you really are. You know what I mean? And developing his game, giving him skill sets where he feels comfortable going out there and without losing him, because he's a passionate guy. He's an emotional guy. You know what I mean? So you don't want to make him into a robot. You want to keep those things that have made him special. You want to keep those things unique, you know what I mean? And just give him a skill set to where he can go and play. And I think that's what's happened. He's matured. He's not as like up and down. He's very even keel. Now he's got guys around him who believe in him. Now he's making some plays, and that's part of the process, right? Guys grow, guys believe, and then they perform.
What's that stat? There's a stat, you guys are giving up 2.55 yards per carry. Does that hold any special meaning for you?
No, because it ain't the season ain't over yet. You know, that's fine and dandy, and it gives us a chance, right? It just gives people a chance to say, like, hey, dude, like when we're on point, we can go out there and do it, and we can play with anybody. But until the season is over, until we celebrate however that last game, whatever that may be, and then we turn back and say, hey, these were the numbers, this is where it is, then we'll stop and celebrate. But right now, like, this team will come in here and they'll rush for 200 if you ain't acting right. You know what I mean? So we better act right.
Marquise, is he getting close? I know the final 4 games, that's kind of been the goal. Like next week at Michigan State, I mean, is he a guy that you could see having a role here?
Yep.
How do you go about that?
He's talented, man. Like the more you see of him out there, the more he can run. He's twitchy, and he's a vet. Like to me, what I see from Keese is he's a ball guy. Like you get him in the right position and you get him seeing the ball, he's going to intercept the ball. You know, so it's fun to watch him. And his progress to coming back, because now he's starting to take some more reps and get out there and move around a little bit. And he's got fresh legs. Let's be real, man. You know, he's been rehabbing and all that stuff, but he's explosive and naturally he sees the ball. So when a DB can get himself in position and he can see the ball, man, you got one there. So it'll be fun to keep on progressing him and then hopefully get him out there and let him run around.
The D-line has played at a really high level, you know, and coming into the season, they didn't have that much experience. How important has Terrence Knighton been for that group and to the defense as a whole?
100%. That's him. You know what I mean? Like we all know pot roast, right? We all know him as a player, but you really wish you can see him interacting with those guys in meetings and when they go to dinners and their group chats and just when they're around. You know, I think they all feel like you got a coach there that cares about them, that truly cares about them and wants to be around them but also will coach them and coach them hard, you know, and give them skill sets to make them feel really confident. And so you got a group of guys who believe in their coach. You got a group of guys who believe in the process and being around here and the system and the messages. And they're going out there and they're performing and they're showing it. You know what I mean? And that's one of the things about the chemistry. Like you see those guys rooting for each other. You see them happy to be playing ball, and that's the key to it all. You know, when those guys love being here and they love being around and they love playing for each other and they can just turn it loose and not worry about us jumping them for making mistakes. You know, again, mistakes are going to happen. X's and O's mistakes are going to happen, but you better play the right way. You know, as I sat up here and said, there's going to be a way you play ball here. And as long as you play the right way, we'll fix the X's and O's. So those guys are having a good time right now.
You talked about Marquise, just that safety spot in general. What can you put your finger on what it's been? I mean, there's been position changes, guys kind of moving around that's allowed them to kind of move seamlessly through the season despite all that.
That's Coach Coop. And the cross-training early. And, again, I think when coaches speak and have messages and stuff, they hear you at first, but until they're proven, right? Until they see, hey, these dudes are for real. Like, we are going to move you around. We are going to throw you in there at different spots and see what you can do and stuff. And then it's like, oh, damn, they are. You know, Malcolm's a corner. Here's Q in that nickel. You know, like they see that. So now they're paying attention to everything because at any point in time, like, hey, practice today, this morning, it's like, hey, guess what? You go here, you go here, you go here. It's like, okay, let's do it. Now they've adopted that mentality. So now you got guys learning concepts instead of trying to memorize positions. You know what I mean? They're understanding how each other fit and all that stuff. So now you just say, hey, somebody's down, you got to go play here. And they're like, okay, let me go play in there. So again, it's a great job on those guys believing in what we're doing. Thank you.
Coach Satterfield, then we'll get some players here in a little bit.
Good afternoon.
I guess.
Too bad you don't have a waiver wire, huh? You can just sign a few players. Have you ever experienced anything like this in your tenure and career?
I'm sure I have, along the way. But I mean, we got good young players. We're excited about. It's a lot of fun to go out there, and we just had a great practice today. It's a lot of fun to go out there and work with these guys. They're hungry. They got opportunity. We look at it that way. Like a lot of people look at it as we're missing people. We look at it as a great opportunity for these kids or these young men, to show what they've got. We're really excited about them.
Is there anything different about an offensive lineman, plugging in a new offensive lineman versus plugging in a new receiver, a new quarterback, or new running back?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, because those guys work together as one. They may be 5 linemen on the field at one time, but it's one unit. Having to work together. So sometimes it takes some time to get the new guy or new guys, in tune with everyone else. But I think like Justin came in the last game, played guard and played center at a high level, and fit in really nicely with those guys. I think that, that I'm good with where we're going up front. I think that we'll be just fine as long as we stay healthy. With who we got up there right now. We just continue to be physical, continue to run the football.
How was your patience with Heinrich on Saturday?
I was patient. I was very patient. And it was just it's one of those things you have those games like when you're growing. Like that's his fifth start, I believe. Not making excuses for me or him, but sometimes you just have you have bad days where the timing's not there and the ball's not coming out like it should. But he fought through it and he persevered. He came back and made that play. That was crucial to get that ball to Malachi and just kind of let everybody take a breath and move forward through the fourth quarter.
Was there ever any discussion to go to number 2?
No. We were just, discussing like, hey, what can we do to get you in rhythm? What can we do to get you more comfortable? Because once he sees it's like any quarterback, they just need one play, to kind of get him back into and get him on track.
I know you're excited for the opportunity that the young guys are going to get, but Coach Rule called Ethan like the heart and soul of this team. Just how gutted are you for him?
For him personally, it's awful. For a kid who cares so much about his teammates, like he cares about everyone's. He is a walking cliche, and I mean that as a compliment. Everything that you have ever heard in your life on a motivational or a leadership pamphlet, he is. His heart and soul is Nebraska Cornhusker football. He lives and dies it for him, his teammates, and the coaches. And so when we saw that happen, it was gut-wrenching. You don't want anybody to get hurt, but you especially don't want a guy like that that's invested so much of his time and so much of his life into this program. And, wishing him a speedy recovery. And, we'll be with him along the way, and he's going to be with us as much as he can.
When you first got here and you're trying to figure out who's what about Evan Jenkins popped out to you?
Just super athletic, can bend, powerful lower body, can create, with leverage and stuff, can create power, move guys off their spots. So, he's been a guy from day one that's shown flashes of, he's going to have a chance to be a pretty dang good offensive lineman, as he continues to grow and play.
How have you seen teams defend Heinrich differently? It looked like Illinois brought a lot of pressure. Northwestern didn't really blitz him much. And how is that challenging to kind of figure out how they're going to go at him each week?
Everybody has their own little niches. We've seen everything from a lot of edge pressure to rushing 3 to, mush rushing and just kind of keeping him in the pocket. So, you got to be ready for everything. But you kind of, after a couple games, there's only so many ways that they can try to affect how he's, managing the game. So we just try to do a good job of replicating that in practice. We had a great practice. Coach did a nice job today. Like, Coach was the D coordinator today with the Purdue defense. And was out there, and it was really good for our guys, just giving us the multiple looks. And the scout team was really playing really, really hard for Coach, obviously. So that was really nice.
Ryan Walters is known for his defensive mind. As you watch what they're doing now, and you maybe look at some of the Illinois stuff from last year, what sticks out?
Very similar, but very sound, complex. You see some of the adjustments they make when motions occur. They may have a pressure called, and a motion occurs, and how they're able to communicate and make sure that pressure is correct. Is some high-level stuff. It's pretty neat to watch. Don't like going against guys like this that are very, very disciplined in what they do, but you can tell just a very disciplined defense. They play with great leverage. They run to the football. They like to hit you. So it's going to be a huge test for us. To make sure that we're moving the ball right and continuing to gain field position throughout the game.
How many head coaches you've been around that have run the scout team? Is that the norm?
Well, coach isn't like a lot of coaches. I mean, he pretty much is what he says he is. I mean, he's just a coach. You know, he's our boss. He's our head coach. He's the coach of the program. But I mean, when he's out there, he's no different than, you know, the GA. Like he's out there just coaching his butt off. And so I didn't know he was going to do it until practice. And so it was a good little competition. He got after me a little bit, but it was good for us.
What's the level of willingness among coaches to evaluate guys who aren't starting for call-ups, for position changes in the season?
Our program, that's who we are. Like we're continuing. It's iron sharpening iron. It's not us just saying that as a, you know, just say, because that's what coaches say. Like every single day you have an opportunity to compete. We do team compete. Our organization is built around team compete. You have a chance to go out there. Every level on the depth chart gets a chance to participate in full football. So we're able to evaluate them and continue to evaluate them. As you see, guys 5 weeks ago that were on the scout teams are now starting. And that is just a result of us continuing to just practice the way that we practice, compete the way that we compete. And again, it's just a reflection of iron sharpening iron and how we do things.
Guys change positions within a season. Is it out of necessity generally, or do you guys sometimes see something in those plays?
Sometimes it might be necessity, but then there's a lot of times that just maximizing your roster and making sure that, you know, you might be the second best linebacker, but you may be the best nickel, or you may be the second best receiver, you may be the best whatever. You know, it's just maximizing the roster, making sure that we get the best guys, the most productive guys on the field at one time.
What have you seen from Emmett Johnson these last few games? And is that lead back role, is that his now?
It's again, I promise I'm not trying to say, but I mean, it's going to be based on this week and just how they practice this week. You know, he's had two good games. He's reliable. We know where he's going to be. For the most part, he's done a really nice job of taking care of the football. He's done a nice job in pass protection. So his role continues to grow. And just really proud, you didn't ask me, but just really proud of, you know, AG just keeps practicing and keeps just working on securing the football and doing things the right way on the football field. And that's really good to see where he's come in the last 2 weeks.
Obviously, you don't want to lay the ball on the ground as much going forward. Has that been something that sort of popped up more in games, or have you seen it, good ball security in practice with that, or lack of drop snaps?
I have to do a better job of making sure we have good ball security. Like in our ball security drills that we do daily, like I've got to make sure that they are being operated and executed at a high level, and I've got to make sure that's happening consistently. You know, it's terrible, the ball security and the amount of times the ball is on the ground right now. Like it's unsatisfactory. It's embarrassing. So we have to fix it. And, you know, you can't be reactionary. You can't go back now and start doing, like, you just keep doing what you're doing and trust your techniques and just doing it better daily. But that is definitely something that we talk about daily, and it's something that's a huge emphasis for us, knowing that with a defense like ours, if we can just win the turnover margin, you have a chance to win some games.
What do you know about Ryan Walters and just his defensive background? Obviously, what he did at Illinois last year got a lot of people's attention.
I've never met him personally, but I do admire the way he plays defense. You know, just again, when you watch the tape as a coach and you see the different adjustments he's making to formational adjustments. Again, like I was saying, sometimes he's got, you know, different calls for different people to do things, and then a motion changes from 3-by-1 to 2-by-2, and they're able to communicate with ease and precision. And again, judge a lot of defense how they run to the football and play with pad level. And you know, they play with pad level, they play with length, and they run to the football. So I think that's a very well coached defense. That's going to be tough to move the ball against.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Damon Lynham's been in this program about as long as you. He's getting an opportunity to play a little bit more this year on defense. What's that like for you to see a guy has fought through it and he's persevered to be here?
It's just a great feeling. That's me and Tamar, we go way back, and we used to be roommates my sophomore year, and it's just great to see a guy like that get his chance, and he making the most of it. He comes to work every day at practice. He's on special teams. He's doing everything right. So the coaches are really loving that, and he's getting his chance.
Quentin, you've been around a lot of college football. What's it been like to see so many other teammates get a chance, whether that's called up from the scout team or change positions? It seems like even in season, guys are getting looks.
Seeing the guys step up into that role is just like James. James, he was on scout probably a couple weeks ago, last week or something. And he comes out on the D-line with those guys and he makes plays for us when we need him to. So we kind of look at it like we don't really have ones, twos, threes. We want the same tone to be set no matter who on the field.
Hey, how surprising was it to see Coach Rule run the scout team defense today? Is that something he likes to do a lot? Or?
He just he always trying to be involved in what's going on, and just trying to get those guys better over there. Just make sure that the scout team D is giving them a great look. Giving them the opportunity to get better. And just seeing him involved in that, it's just like you see how committed the head coach is, and he walk over there with the scout team and be over there with them the whole time. It's a good thing to see.
Opponents to single digit scoring. What's the reason behind that? What have you guys done, and where has the confidence? How much has it grown in this stretch?
I would say just execution and. Flying around to the ball, even when it's a mistake, it's just so many guys running to the ball. It's just like, sometimes you can't even tell when you make a mistake. And it's just like, like I said, no matter where the opposing team gets the ball, it's like when we go out on the field, we like, okay, we're going to stop them. And, we just ready to step up to the challenge.
Quentin, Coach White said chemistry is kind of the driving force of your guys' success so far. Where has that kind of been built up from what you've seen?
Just, outside of football, just, hanging out with the guys on the weekends, just having the whole team eat together, having the defense meet together, just, knowing everybody on the team. And it's just been a big part of what we have going on, because as far as holding people accountable and doing things right, nobody gets sad or in their feelings when somebody calls them out. So, that's a great thing to have on the team.
Marquise starting to look like he's about ready to roll again.
Yeah. I'm ready to see Marquise get back out there.
He had fresh legs. I mean, can you tell he's chomping at the bit and all that?
Yeah, he got them fresh legs. We ready to get him back. He's a great player for us, and just ready to see how everything goes on.
Does he rep them with twos and threes on defense, or how does he rep during practice when you guys are in the team drills?
He's not full go right now. He just he's kind of limited right now, but they rotate him in every now and then, no matter what the group is, and he gets some reps in. He looks good.
What are your early impressions of Purdue as you guys start to dive into your prep for them?
They're a good team. I feel like they're starting to get clicking. They just came off a bye week, so they've been preparing for us, and I just think that this team is gonna be ready to attack us when they get here. So we just need to practice and go hard at what we do.
Anything else for Quentin? Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Quentin. questions.
Hey Ty, your head coach had a lot of praise for your performance. You're the one who played it on Saturday. How did you feel like you played, and was that one of the better games you've had in your career?
It was definitely the most confidence I had throughout the whole game. I think as of going, I think I've seen myself this year just get a lot better as each game is come and go. There's a lot of stuff at the end of the season. You know, I got to question if I'm ready to go or not. So, but as of right now, I think just focusing for each game and making sure that I continue just to get better and better every week.
How much does it help as it relates to that decision? I know you're focused on the season, but how much does it help to have a head coach who was just in the NFL and a position coach who played 10 years in the NFL? Like, what kind of thoughts are they giving you about where you're at and what you can do better over the last half of the season?
Yeah, it's definitely a word of the wise type of deal because they've been real with us. Like they'll show tape and they'll show like if you play like this, like you are not going to get drafted. It's going to bump you down or you're just not going to be able to make it in the next level. And I think Coach Rule has done a really great job at showing us old guys, but especially like kind of relaying that message to the young guys, like, hey, if you are going to do it my way, because my way has been shown to work and it's been proven that if this is what you really want to do, it can get you there. So I think he's done a really good job at kind of surveying that message.
Maybe you've always had this, or when did you learn it? It's not all about stats from your position. Like you could have a game like Saturday where I think it showed you with one tackle, but then your head coach comes in and says he was great.
It's a team game. So I definitely, I'd love to get more tackles. I'd love to get more sacks, but at the end of the day, it's a team game, and if we come out with the win, that's all I really care about. And then if my performance helps our team out in that way, then that's fine. I'll let Nash and Jamari and whoever else make plays. If that means that we get to come out with a win. So I'm super, super happy and super proud of the way we played on Saturday.
Have you seen this defense grow? I think Coach Rule said, he said to you guys, like, if you're up 1 point at halftime, like if it's 7-6 or whatever, like the game's yours. Like, to have that mindset, like they're not scoring against you, basically. Have you seen this defense kind of growing that and taking that on?
That was our mentality Saturday. At least that was to me, and I was trying to, relay it to everyone else on the defense. Was that, hey, it's 10-3 right now. Who cares? We're winning. We're technically winning. If we just do what we're supposed to do on defense, we win the game 10-3. Obviously, it helps when we score points because it kind of gives us, that more cushion room or whatever, but it's no reason to take our foot off the brake and just keep doing what we're doing. We didn't get a shutout in the fourth quarter, and that's a goal for us every game. They got a field goal, so not really happy about that. And then we also got however many yards, over 100 rushed on us, which, we haven't really allowed this whole year. So I also take that personal that, even though we did a lot of good things, there were still some things, that wasn't held to our standard.
Their running back, Maccabee, had a pretty big game on you guys last year. What do you remember about him and kind of how anxious are you to get another chance at him after what he did a year ago?
Yeah, he's a hard-running kid. I remember last year, I think he was a screen. He came over the middle as I was trying to retrace and go get him. He smacked me good. But, he's going to be a hard-hitting runner. And I just know a year at that program, he's just going to be just a year better. I've already seen it on the film. He looks like a true running back now. His form looks really good, and he just looks like he's not out there as a freshman, not with deer in the headlights type deal. He's really confident in himself. So it's going to take all 11 of us to stop him.
What's it do for the position group when you see a guy like James Williams come in and do what he did on Saturday?
That just puts the biggest smile on my face. We literally call him Sack Man all throughout fall camp, all throughout the season when we do one-on-ones. It is weird. He is. He's my height. He's like 240, and he's got size 17 feet, so you don't really know how that body works out. But, he's able to bend the corner and get by guys, and he's got great pad level. And, I was super excited just to see him. We got to work on his celebrations a little bit, but that's okay. He's got some time to work on that.
Could you see that behind the scenes, like that he could contribute in the game just from what
Oh, yeah. No, that literally that package that we ran out there was made for him to go out there and be able to do his part for the defense and the team.
How have you seen the offensive line kind of respond to such key losses and how they're progressing from that?
Yeah, the O-line is really, really close. A really good brotherhood, I think, together. So, but like I've seen them say, Turner's out there still. I mean, he's on crutches, helping the young guys. That's going to take over his spot. I mean, Teddy's been here. I know he's kind of gone through his own journey of injuries, but I think he'll be great for us. It was awesome to see Justin get in the game, and I mean, been going against Justin for the past 2 years now on scout, and he's given us a great look. And I knew when it was his time to be called on that he was going to be able to do his job. I mean, going from left guard, and then when Ben went down in the game to center, and seeing him be able to just kind of flip his brain, because I mean, even though it's still a line, those are two different positions on what you have to do, and the center has to make calls now, and the left guard. And I mean, just the way they communicated was awesome. So I just think our O-line, the young guys, I think are ready. And when they step up, I think we're going to be pretty happy with what we see.
Thanks, Ty.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Luke, what was the last month like for you, just kind of going through what you went through and kind of getting back out there this week?
Yeah, it's been a little chaotic, obviously. Like, I was in the hospital for 2 nights, basically 3 days, so with the infection, and then got back, and then it kind of took me a while for my arm to start feeling better again, too, because it was just pretty sore. But yeah, I was just super happy to be out on the field again and just playing football and not having to deal with, like, that stuff. Like, it was just completely random, no idea, but I was just really happy to be out there and playing football again.
What was it like in the couple days, like leading up to you going to the hospital? Like, how did you feel? Like, when did you know that you probably needed to go in?
My arm just got really, really sore out of nowhere. And then, like, I was still planning on playing, and then on Saturday morning, like, it was just because I got on antibiotics on Friday, and then by Saturday morning it still wasn't better. So I was still kind of planning on playing on the game against Michigan, but then Saturday morning I told the doctors, I was like, I still can't move my arm, and they're like, okay, you need to go to the hospital, get that checked out. So yeah, then it was just all kind of chaos. It was just weird and something I had never dealt with obviously before. So, but yeah, I'm back now, so I was really happy to be on the field again.
Was it like a bruise or a cut, or like just kind of maybe describe it for us a little bit? Just
I think it was like bursitis in the elbow, and then that just got infected. So it was just part of it, I guess. I don't know. It was just a really weird, crazy thing. So I'm just happy I'm back.
Did you drop any weight through that process?
Maybe a little bit when I was in the hospital, but by the time I had gotten out, like, I was eating fine, and by the time I was practicing again, I was at the same weight. So, and I played at Michigan at 225, so I didn't lose any weight when I played at Northwestern, sorry. I was at 225, so I didn't lose any weight overall.
What do you notice from what do you notice from your guys in your absence? The guys who filled in and maybe got more opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously the linebacker guys, like, we have rotated a ton, so there's been a lot of guys that have gotten a lot of reps this year, so they did a great job filling in, and I was just like, watching the Illinois game especially was so fun to watch because there was a lot of guys that played up really good. Like, and Nick stepped up and he played a lot of snaps and he played really, really good against Illinois, I thought. So it was really fun to see him running around and having fun. So, and then obviously Mackay, John, Javen, like, there's so many guys that are playing right now, kind of that off the ball linebacker spot. So it was fun to watch them play.
Luke, have you ever been a part of a defense here where you're kind of getting contributions from everyone every game, it seems like? I mean, 13 tackles for loss, and it was pretty spread out.
Yeah. No, it seems like everybody's kind of eating right now, which is really fun to see. It's not just one guy, it's a whole group collective. Like we have James step up first game and he gets, sack and a half or whatever it was. Like it was just really fun to see kind of everybody, the whole collective unit, just playing at a high level and making plays.
This is kind of going back to you weren't on the road trip at Illinois, right? So, well, I mean, what was it like? What are you like watching a game?
Yeah,
When you,
I went to a buddy's house to watch it in Omaha, and it was a little different. Like I think it was my third road trip since I've been here when I wasn't traveling, so it was definitely foreign to me, and the first one since COVID year. So it was definitely really foreign to me, not like traveling with the team, not being there, not watching it, and just watching it on the TV. Like it was a weird feeling, and I really didn't like it that much, but it was a part of it. But yeah, it was definitely a weird feeling not being there and not being on the road trip with everybody.
How weird was it to watch the Michigan game on TV, considering that was here?
Yeah, that one was just like I was kind of more worried about my arm than anything. I was more worried about my health than football at that moment. But it was still like that whole day was just a whole mess. So football was kind of a little lower on the worry list on that day especially.
Effects from it too?
It was sore my arm was sore for a couple days, like probably a week or two after I got off after I was released from the hospital. Basically, it was sore for a couple days, but other than that, there was no lingering effects or anything. Like I never had a fever, never was sick. My arm was just really sore. It was a weird deal.
What have you seen from Purdue's offense? I know the running back is the same as a year ago. New quarterback. What have you seen from them?
Yeah, they just do a bunch of stuff. They're physical. They have a good O-line. They have good skills. Like they're a good team. They have a good quarterback, and their running backs are obviously 45-3. Like they're pretty good players, dude. So it's we're gonna have a big task ahead of us, but we're excited for it. Excited for the challenge because they bring so many different things to the table. They run it well. They do all sorts of different things passing game wise. So it'll be a good challenge for us.
which Rule's brought up a few times since Saturday, the tackles that Omar made and Malcolm on the plays where they actually Northwestern had a nice explosive on them, but it saved a touchdown, and he called them kind of winning plays. Like how much is that stressed, and how much does it say about this defense that you have guys that don't give up on plays like that there?
No, those two plays were incredible to watch. Like they just hawked them down. Like that speaks for their athleticism and then their heart too. Like they could have very easily just kind of jogged off or like kind of half ran after them, but they like hawked them down. So it was really, really cool to watch, and that gave us another chance on defense to save points. It saved 8 points over those two plays, and we won by 8 points. So those are game-winning plays. Those are plays that we need to make and will continue to make going forward.
All right. Thanks, Luke.
I guess now that you've watched film, what's one of your biggest takeaways from Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, it was still kind of the same stuff that I thought post-game. Just little things that I need to fix. The offense as a whole we need to fix. Just little stuff that in the past has made us lose games, and luckily that stuff didn't make us lose this one. But as we continue to get down this road and get more and more into Big Ten play, as we want to go 1-0 every week, we got to fix that stuff.
You've got 3 offensive linemen that played this past weekend that will not be playing this next week. Just what has it been like working with the new group of offensive linemen this week?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Raiola has all those guys ready to go. So I trust whoever he puts in. And also, I trust those guys. I've built a relationship with all of them over these years. Teddy, we came in at the same time. We've known each other since high school. Obviously he's recovered from a couple injuries, but I trust Teddy, and anyone who Coach Rowell puts in.
You take a lot of hits, obviously. What's the weekly build like to get your body back up to go do it again? And have you kind of learned some things, going through this year about that help you with that process?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen, my freshman year, watched Adrian battle through some really tough injuries. I mean, he's one of the toughest guys I think I've ever seen. Obviously last year we had injury problems going through the season. Casey got hurt, Chuba got hurt. So just watching those guys and how they approach recovery every week has helped me. And also, I mean, we have a great medical staff who, stays on top of everything. So, I'm in the training room a good amount, even if, it varies week to week. Some weeks I come out on Monday and I'm perfectly fine, but other weeks it's just like one hit, so I just got to get that fixed.
What sticks out to you about Ryan Walters, known as a defensive guy? When you watch what they're doing and obviously what he did at Illinois last year, what jumps out to you?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it's kind of Illinois 2.0. I think we did a good job against Illinois offensively. Obviously, there's stuff that we always want to get better at, and now we have a chance because, Purdue and Illinois, they may not be the exact same defense. They may have different tendencies, but I mean, it's another shot at an Illinois-type defense that, we may be struggling against, couldn't punch the ball in, and, that game a lot of small things down in the red zone, and, we need to be able to execute every play this week.
Justin Evan Jenkins popped right in there and played like 40 snaps. Seemed like he belonged. I mean, what you've probably watched him grow, and what have you thought about him as he's kind of developed into the role he has now?
Yeah, I mean, he came in and he looked like he kind of looked like how he is now. He's ready to go from day one, and he's developed mentally. He's even physically he's gotten stronger. I'm not an expert in O-line, but it seems like he's developed a lot up front. Just technique-wise. So, it's impressive when you can go. He took reps last year at center, and he went to left guard, and he went to center. When you can just bounce back and forth like that, that helps an offense out so much, especially when you're going through a stretch right now where we're down a couple guys.
How have you seen that young group of wide receivers just in practice, their confidence grow with kind of what they've been asked to do the last few weeks?
Yeah, I mean, they're starting – they realize what the work that they have to put in now off the field so that they can recognize it on the field. Malachi's a great example. I mean, that's a guy that came in, didn't quite know how to do everything, how much effort to put into this, how much effort to put into that. I'm not saying that he was lazy. He works his butt off, but, he's starting to realize the gain of putting all that work in. And I think some of those younger guys are going to keep coming along too. And, a lot of them have been working really hard, and they're going to get their shot, and they're going to capitalize on it.
Coach Satterfield was saying that Coach Rule was running the scout team defense today. What was that like out of practice with him getting so involved in your guys' preparation?
Yeah, I mean, anything that Coach Rule does is with intent and intensity. So no matter what he's doing, it's going to be really energetic. It's going to be really close to perfect most of the time. So, him getting those guys ready helps us more than a lot of people recognize.
He's pretty animated, huh?
Yeah, he always is. But he gets everyone fired up. So, that scout team was running around, looking like Purdue, ready to knock our heads off, but we were coming right back at them. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.